Jordan Moore and John Jackson, joined by a very special guest now, Lynn Swann, the 8th athletic director in USC history when he takes over this summer. I think July 1, I believe is what you said. And take us through the hiring process, if you will. You know, it sounds like you didn't really think about the possibility of this job until all of a sudden it was presented in front of you, and then you said, you know what, maybe this works.
Jordan, until you said that, I didn't realize I was the 8th.
You are.
Athletic
It's not a
director.
lot.
That's half of my professional number.
That's
I
true.
kind of like that.
That's true. It's a good number for you.
8 is a lucky number.
Yep.
It was a process, and I'm thankful and grateful that in that process someone felt that I could do this job, that President Nikias opened the door and the opportunity and the conversation. The other folks I talked to came out to visit, spent a lot of time together. I had to go a little bit undercover for a while because I was trying to do my own research about the job and what it takes. Spoke to a number of people who were in the same position and basically told them I was looking at consulting someone on the job. So I got a little bit of information, and I certainly believe that, you know, before you take on a responsibility, you've got to look at yourself and your skill set and, you know, feel comfortable with it, and then get a viewpoint from people who know you well. Because sometimes we see ourselves one way, everybody else sees ourselves a different way. So I asked some people I work with and known for a long time what they thought, and they thought it would be a great fit. So the idea became yes, if the president decided that I was the person he wanted to lead the USC athletic department for the next, you know, decade or so, I'd take the job.
Juju Smith-Schuster, by the way, the man who sort of continued the legacy, right? We got some great receivers here. The latest in the line, Juju Smith-Schuster, the roar behind you was a touchdown for Juju. So
like to see receivers in the end zone.
There's plenty of that going on around here.
You know, Lynn, you obviously had a great career. Obviously, it's going to be a great endeavor for you. If there's one message or the basic message you're going to get across to the athletic department that you obviously take over, but also to USC fans, you know, as a whole, what is that message coming from you in terms of what you want, you know, the Lynn Swann USC athletic department to represent?
Service. I mean, you know, I've sat on the board of some pretty interesting companies and some global companies. I've served on several boards in the hospitality industry. And in the hospitality industry, what we try and do is make sure that every person who walks through the door, eats at your restaurant, sleeps in the hotel room, feels like they had a great evening, a great meal, and a great time. Because we want them back. You know, we want them to continue to patronize that hotel. I believe that all of us in the athletic department, all the folks at the university, we're in the service business. You know, we serve the student body. We are trying to make this a great experience for them. Not just having fun, not just making things comfortable, giving them a place to lay their head down, but providing a collegiate experience so that doors open for them. They get a chance to know themselves better. They experience things they never thought they would experience, and then they can make a decision about their future. Then they get a skill set that says, I can achieve and move it forward. Whatever dreams they have, and we don't want to give them their dream. They got to find their own dream. We just want to give them the tools to succeed. And our student athletes have a great opportunity because not are they just going to school and having a college experience, they're working pretty hard at practice, they're developing their bodies, they're working under stress, they're working as a team. These are all various skill sets that you can take with you for the rest of your life and any job you do. Most young kids don't realize that as hard as athletes work in every sport, that's the way they're going to work for most of their lives when they get out of college.
Boy, is his phone going to be ringing on service. There's a lot of alumni here. There's a lot of alumni. We all appreciate service.
College football has become such big business, guys, and so I think sometimes people see this job as the college football, the USC football GM, but the truth of it is that it's not that. There are 21 programs here. So, you know, what's your sort of take on how you can affect the totality of the job?
Well, certainly by communicating. You know, there are lots of NCAA rules. We have a great gentleman who's in charge of compliance here, Dave Roberts. So we have to give all the kids and all the sports guidelines to understand what those rules are so they know how to act and how to respond. And so what we want them to do is have a great time, compete, and we want them to win. Okay, but we want them to do it in the right way. So we'll continue that message. For me, there are three things. It's one, graduation. Number two, win. And as I said before, have an experience. Have a great experience here. Graduation is very important. You know, it's a foundation of what you do. You don't want to leave the school think you have an opportunity, and all of a sudden you find out you don't have your degree, and you need a degree, and you want to go back. You can't keep going backwards to go forward. You got to just move straight ahead. So that degree is the bottom. It's that foundation that you build on.
You know, I know you followed this USC team obviously throughout your career when you weren't involved, and now that you're actively involved, given just an overall general view of, you know, the football team and, you know, Clay Helton and staff, and, you know, the sort of how things come from your perspective, because you are a fresh set of eyes compared to the rest of us.
A fresh set of eyes, but my perspective is really Clay Helton. He's got a great opportunity in front of him. He's got 100% of my support. I think he wants this job more than I want him to have the job. So, I think he's going to work very hard to do that. The players stepped up and really endorsed him and had a voice in saying that they wanted him back. And so I think that means a lot to the process. Clancy Pendergast is an excellent defensive coordinator. I've known Clancy for a dozen years or so.
Okay.
Knew Clancy when he was in Dallas. Knew his whole family. You know, they come from Glendale, California. His dad was a dairy farmer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know, because I milked the 98 cows he had, because I lost a bet when we lost to Arizona State one year. So, we've got some very talented people. And when you have talented people, what you have to do is support them, give them the opportunity to do what they do best, and step back. I am not the guy you want to keep talking to year long. You want to talk to the coaches. You want to talk to the players, watch them grow, see how they're doing things. You know, I sometimes feel like maybe the athletic director is an offensive lineman. You know, you only hear the name mentioned when something goes wrong.
That's right. That's true.
Don't mention my name.
Okay.
We just talked to one of your teammates, Sam Cunningham, and we asked him about you being appointed athletic director. He laughed, he smiled, he thought back to you guys being roommates, and he just said, you know, I always knew Lynn was going to be something special. I just didn't know what it was, and he said, this just seems like it fits. So, you know, I'm wondering, all the experiences that you've had, how would you just sort of describe yourself as a leader and your leadership style?
Inclusive when it comes to leadership, to listen, to be inclusive. To not walk around and think I'm the smartest guy in the room. We've got some smart people at the athletic department. Guys like Steve Lopes have been there a long time, and the institutional knowledge they have in terms of what was done well at the program, when maybe what was not done well. You know, I could come in and say, hey, I want to do X. You know, and Steve can say, well, then we did that about 10 years ago, and here's what happened, etc. So it keeps you from making a mistake kind of moving forward. So I think it's important to listen, to engage. I'll learn a great deal from the staff as I move forward in my first 6 months, first year, and we'll continue in programs. We've got some projects that we've just got to continue with, like the renovation of the Coliseum.
We're sitting in one right now, yeah.
That's right. So there's no need when you've got those programs on the table to go out and say, okay, let's add this to it. How about let's finishing what we have before we take the next step?
Yeah, and that's what I was going to ask you next. Is it sort of your view of where the athletic department is now to where it has to go? You know, is it already, like as you mentioned, sort of going in the right direction? So when you step in, you can sort of assess as opposed to coming in and, you know, really have to be a bull in the china shop because there's so many things that.
Absolutely, I think Pat Hayden has done a great job. The graduation rates have increased under Pat Hayden. Certainly, that's my primary goal, to make sure they graduate. Pat brought in women's beach volleyball.
Yep.
They've won the national championship already. I had a chance to watch them on Friday a little bit. Thursday. Compete there against Pepperdine a little bit. So it was nice to see. And I was amazed. We have a beach volleyball.
Pretty nice, isn't it?
On Figueroa.
Yeah.
You know, I thought you needed the beach. You know, but we've got some great programs, and you know, like I said, you know, we want to teach the kids and have the kids understand that we want them to be winners. We want them to be national champions. You know, you don't get better and you don't get your best trying to play for second place.
Right.
Okay, you get your best when you're always going for the top rung of the ladder, and so that's what we're going to push.
Well, that's Lynn Swann, your new athletic director. We welcome you. You're already certainly a legendary part of the Trojan family, but we welcome you into the next chapter of it. You got one more, JJ?
Well, I just want to make sure I can just get Lynn. That way you have everybody watching it. I can just ask him. I need his autograph on my 88 jersey that I wore.
You should tell people that our president, Max Nikias, came up, and he just wanted to make the power rankings real clear here on who was the best receiver on the set.
Yeah. It's still debatable.
I'm definitely third,
No,
and it sounds like you're definitely second. So, apologize. JJ's just watched over the years as his name's fallen in the receiving all-time charts.
I have to tell you something. My two boys, I have a son who's a freshman at West Point, and my youngest son, Braxton, will be a freshman here at USC in the fall. And they were over in the McKay Center. And they walked through and they went into the Lynn Swann receiver room.
Which will be getting bigger now.
And they were looking at the records on the wall. And they're looking, they're going down, and they go, Dad, how come your name's not in the wall? I said, well, son, when I was here at USC, I held the record. I started for 3 years. I caught more passes in the career than anybody else at USC by the time I graduated in 1974. I said, how many catches did you have over 3 years? I said, 96. And they looked at the board and they said, well, that guy had 96 catches in a year. Kids have a way of putting you in your place.
Yeah, exactly.
And the times have certainly changed. That is for sure.